So I spent 4 months studying at a mystery school in Guatemala where we practiced lucid dreaming and astral projection. We studied tarot and the Kabbalah. We learned all these different esoteric things. At a certain point, I ran out of money and had to fund the rest of the trip off of a poker game. I'll tell you about that later. And I also became the face of a small chain of gelato shops around Guatemala. And I didn't make any money, but they paid me in ice cream. And if you go down there today, you'll still see my face around the town. My name is Vincent, and I share everything I know about lucid dreaming and herbal alchemy here, and if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing, and if there's anything you want me to dive deeper into, let me know in the comments. So, I first heard of this school when I was living in California and working on a weed farm, and like most people there, I would go work really hard for a few months, save up as much money as I could, and then go travel the rest of the year until it was the next season and time to do it all over again. And when I was there, I met a woman who was working on the farm, and she told me she had just come back from this beautiful lake where they have a school that you can practice lucid dreaming and astral projection. I thought if I go to this school, I'll feel more comfortable because the school is full of people doing nothing but that, and it's designed for you to have that type of experience. So I took the money I'd made and I packed my bags. I was living in Northern California in the snow. I got in my buddy's van at 4 in the morning and he drove me to the train station. I got on the train. I stayed on the train all night until I got to a subway in a city, and that subway then took me to an airport. That airport took me to Guatemala gradually after several long layovers. I got out of the airport and I had to wait again all night until the buses started running. I got on a bus. The bus took me all the way from Guatemala City to Panajachel, where I got out, and at this point had been 2 or 3 days without sleep. And I headed my way down to the dock where I got on a boat. The boat took me across the lake. I got onto a new dock, stepped off in the tropics, still wearing my winter jacket and dressed like I should be in the snow. And I was exhausted. I hadn't slept and I'd been eating only Cliff Bars for days. So I get into a tuk-tuk, which is a cool, weird little 3-wheel vehicle. It takes me up these winding, kind of dirt roads, or I don't know if they're cobblestone or brick, but these pretty rough roads. And then the school is in session, and I go in for orientation. I'd made my plans, I talked to the school, I reserved my spot. I walk through those gates, and I see them taking people there, registering them, and I walk up and introduce myself. And they don't have my paperwork. They don't have my information. They had lost it. They had forgotten about me. But they knew it was their fault. They found my old emails and their responses to me saying that I should show up. So they made it right because they're really good people and they're great teachers and I can't recommend them enough. They squeezed me in. And from this point on, once you're registered, you stay in the school for an entire month. And the reason they call it the moon course is because it takes place over the course of an entire moon cycle. And I believe it's new moon to new moon. It might be full moon to full moon, but I think it's new moon to new moon. And that month is broken into 4 weeks. They have the earth week, the water week, the air week, the fire week. And every week has a different focus. And you level up your knowledge and you dive a little bit deeper week by week. Until the final week, you do a juice cleanse. It's like juice and soups, just liquid vegetables and fruit basically, and you're in silence that entire week. You don't speak. So I have my notebook here from the metaphysics class and it's actually completely full, but the first week, earth week, you deal with more bodily things. Water week is more emotional, air is more mind, and fire is more spiritual. So it's like the tarot deck when you also study tarot down there and you see these elements in astrology. So they study astrology pretty deeply. And you also are, of course, learning lucid dreaming and astral travel. So the day is structured like this. You wake up early and you go into the yoga and meditation class in the morning, which is one that I always skipped because I'm in lucid dreaming school and I have my best lucid dreams in the morning, so I don't want to wake up early and miss out on that to go do yoga, which I don't really care to do. So I'd skip that part. You don't have to go. And after yoga gets out, then you have free time. You can go to the community kitchen and hang out with your friends and students. You'll probably make friends with a lot of people there. And you can cook your breakfast, or you can go out into town, get breakfast. You can explore the town a little bit, meet lots of people from all over the world. And after that is metaphysics class in the middle of the day. And that's the best class, and it's everyone's favorite part of the day. And you are living in a small pyramid while you're there. All the students have their own personal little pyramid to sleep in and store their stuff. It's like your bedroom. But metaphysics class is held in the temple, which is a huge pyramid. And you actually have to kind of go underground a little bit and then walk up into the pyramid to get inside. And inside is decorated with a lot of beautiful symbolic imagery all over the place. The instructor will be standing there in the front of the class, and the students are sitting on cushions all around the edges of the pyramid. In the first week, you're going to learn more about the different layers of the aura, the astral body, the physical body, things like that. You'll learn about the sleep cycles and how they work throughout the night, so that way you can take advantage of them to give yourself a greater chance of having lucid dreams. You learn different lucid dreaming techniques like reality checks and the wake back to bed method. Pretty much every lucid dreaming method I've ever talked about on here, or that you've seen anywhere else on YouTube, they're probably going to cover it there. They explain how astral travel and astral projection works, and they have some interesting ideas there. Take them how you will. I don't fully believe everything I heard, but to give you an example, it's kind of interesting. They'd say you have your astral body here, right, and your physical body here. When you go to sleep, you lay down in your bed, and your astral body drifts out of your physical body, and at some point you'll start dreaming. You're exploring the dream world in your astral body, and when you wake up, you go back into your physical body, and you get up and you go about your day. Sometimes you slam back in all of a sudden, and that's when you wake up with a jolt, like, whoa. And sometimes you have sleep paralysis because you catch yourself in the in-between stage and you're kind of stuck. Sometimes if you're a sleepwalker, your astral body picks up your physical body and brings it with it. They basically are of the belief that lucid dreaming and astral travel are the same thing. I personally don't believe that, but they believe a lucid dream, is once you're in the astral plane, you become aware of the fact you're dreaming. Now you become conscious. They call it having the click. You get the click that tells you you're dreaming. And I've used that phrase on this channel before. And they say astral projection is when you're in your physical body and you witness the entire process of leaving and going out into the astral plane. One of the days for a metaphysics class, you will not go inside of the pyramid. You'll be outside in the garden, and it's taught by one of the instructor's husbands who's a gardener there. But he'll give you a rundown on all the lucid dreaming herbs and plants. And all around the property is mugwort that they grow on purpose, that you're welcome to use and experiment with while you're there. And I've been working with mugwort before I went there, but if you're watching this channel, you know how much we love mugwort, and you can imagine how excited I was to see it growing all around me and to be encouraged to use it. And I mentioned in another video the night that I drank a huge kettle of it with a guy from Australia. That was at this school, and he was one of the students there. Another thing you do at the school as a group throughout your day is these different waking practices that help you have lucid dreams. So here I have my list. One of them is touch physical objects throughout the day to create the habit of checking whether or not you're dreaming. Because if you touch something in the real world, you know how it feels. In a dream, it might feel a little bit different, just enough to give yourself the click, as they say, that lets you know you're dreaming. Another thing is to observe your hands and to check whether or not they're real. So you're looking for things like if you can see an aura around them, if you can see maybe the wrong number of fingers. These are things that can help give you the click. Maybe your hands are a different color. You're supposed to pay attention to people walking, because they say in the astral plane, there's no sound when you make footsteps, or you might be hovering above the ground. You're supposed to pay attention to people's mouths when you speak to them at the school, because that's training your brain to recognize in dreams if someone's speaking and their mouth isn't moving, it's a good chance you're in a dream. So basically what they're having you do are different versions of reality checks, which is something we talk about on this channel sometimes. Another thing they say is to post up little cards or post-it notes around with a question on it, am I dreaming? And every week or so, you can take them down and replace them with essentially the same card, but a different color. And having a different color is supposed to help keep it fresh, so it's not going on that back burner in your brain. And that's a funny thing about the school is there's notes all around the school, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, sometimes written on the wall, and they'll say things like hands, mouth, feet, eyes. And it's because, like I said earlier, you're supposed to see if someone's mouth is moving, if you have the wrong number of fingers, if their feet's touching the ground or making no sound. But before that first metaphysics class, I just thought I was in a really weird place because I'm like, why are there all these notes everywhere that say hands, mouth, feet, eyes, question mark? They're reality checks that they built into the school. And I'll give you this more from week 1. They have a scale of consciousness in lucid dreams that I think is very interesting. So 0 is no consciousness or awareness that you're dreaming. It's passive dreaming. It's what most people are in most nights when they're dreaming. The stage 1 is noticing something weird, like you're flying, but you don't question it. You notice like, hey, I'm flying, that's weird, but you don't become lucid. You just stay in the dream. Stage 2 is you notice something weird, like you're flying, and you question it, but you get the answer wrong. Because if you ask yourself, why am I flying? And the answer is, because I'm Superman, you're not going to become lucid. You're just getting a little bit deeper into the dream, like a little closer to lucidity, but you're not actually breaking through and getting the click. Stage 3 is just a little bit closer than that. It's when you notice something strange, you question it, and you say, it's because I'm dreaming. You have the right answer. But it's not with enough energy and awareness to give you the click, which is why I do that bottle cap trick. It's so that way I can really focus all my energy in that one moment and give myself the best chances of becoming lucid. Stage 4 is you notice something weird, you question it, you answer it correctly, you have the click, you know you're dreaming, but you wake up right away because you couldn't stay in the dream. Stage 5 is you have a lucid dream. You know something weird, you question it, you have the click, you don't wake up, you stay in the dream, and you do some work. Stage 6 is when you can stay in the dream as long as you want. And here's what you do if you wake up early. You try to not move a muscle. You don't open your eyes, you don't twitch, you stay still in that relaxed position, and you kind of just sink back into your bed. You go back into the dream and you relive your experiences, but it takes some focus and willpower. You have to kind of imagine yourself and will yourself back into that place. And if you twitch or you open your eyes or you wake up a little too much, there's a good chance that you won't be able to get back there. And here's a really interesting idea. If you're in a lucid dream or out-of-body experience and you happen to enter the Akashic records, you may find a book on you and your life in there. And it says, don't pick it up and actually try to read it. Just hold it to your chest and try to assimilate the knowledge that you need. I've never experienced that, but it's a cool note, and I hope you get to experience it. Now, I can't tell you everything we learned, because like I said, it would take too long, but I'll give you a brief little rundown of some things. You learn the initiatic system of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, which includes tarot, astrology, the Kabbalion, numerology, the Emerald Tablets, alchemy, Kabbalah. There's a lot of interesting things we learn there. There's a whole section just on tarot and the symbolism of tarot. And if you learn the tarot cards, you're also learning astrology and numerology, because they all go hand in hand. You're learning about the elements that way too. This is a lot of esoteric knowledge and a lot of stuff you find in ceremonial magic and Golden Dawn type of practices. And this is all happening in that 1 month during the moon course. But there's more than just the moon course out there. There's also the sun course. And the sun course happens from solstice to equinox, or equinox to solstice. So that's a 3-month course. Now, when I was down in Guatemala, I didn't have that much money, I came with enough to get there, join the school, and do the moon course. And I didn't plan on doing the sun course, but I just so happened to show up in a time where the next sun course was only a month away from when the moon course ended. So I was going to stay in town for a little while and try to manage to do the sun course as well. So I rented a house on the lake for very cheap with a friend from the moon course. We split it. And during that 1 month period, I was taking Spanish lessons and practicing Spanish every day. And my Spanish teacher's husband worked at a Waldorf school that they had in Guatemala in the town. So I went to go volunteer at that school, working in their garden to help them grow plants and food. And it was also a way for me to not only stay busy, but to keep practicing my Spanish. And one day, after working at that school, I walked into town and there was a gelato shop there that I went to frequently. And I walked in and the owner of the shop was in there. And she said, "Oh, I like the way you look. Will you model for me? And I'll give you a free ice cream cone." I thought that it was just going to be for like a little social media post or something and not a big deal. So I said, sure. I didn't think anything would come of it. And I ended up leaving town. And years later, people started sending me pictures of me on these advertisements. And I thought maybe they're just one poster in the shop, but they told me that no, I'm the face of this gelato shop now. And that this picture in particular is their main advertisement that's outside of all of their locations now. I've got many friends that go down to the lake who know me and they'll get down there and see me. And I still get pictures to this day, like a few times a year. Someone sends me a picture of that gelato shop and my advertisement there. It's just kind of a weird experience. Like, I only got paid in ice cream, but now I'm the face of a small ice cream shop in Guatemala. And more time went by and I was running out of money and I had maybe like $300 left. But if I ran out of money, I wasn't going to be able to do the sun course. And I heard there was a poker game across the lake. So I took the last of the money I had to spend and I took this huge risk and I got on the boat. I took it across the lake. I put just enough money in my pocket to take the boat back to my house if I needed it. And I put the rest down on the table and bought chips and played poker that afternoon. And I ended up leaving that poker table with about 800. Whatever it was enough for me to buy food to make it through the entire sun course before I had to go back home. Now, the sun course is like the moon course, but it's longer. Instead of a week of silence and fasting at the end, you have 40 days of silence and meditation. And it's not done at the Las Pirámides school in San Marcos. It's up at a school they call El Arca. On the signs it says Las Pirámides 2. And the sun course is a lot deeper, a lot more thorough, more intense, and it's a lot smaller. The moon course had maybe like 12 students. Whoops, I was way off. Looking back, it was actually closer to 30. Now, I can't go into the sun course with you too much because, like I said, it's much more deep and thorough. This entire book is full, but they go deeper into tarot, deeper into astrology, and there's a lot more emphasis on the tree of life. And it was very thorough, but they go through all the signs eventually. And that's just for the astrology stuff. They do the same thing with tarot, and you go through the whole tarot deck, the major and minor arcana, the court cards, the suits. You learn all the lessons they have to teach, what the structure of tarot is, how it works, and more importantly, how it fits on the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life. And that's why they have that big tree of life that you walk on. You walk the paths, you learn the tree of life, and you learn how all these different things fit onto the tree. It's very deep, it's very thorough. If you want to go, I have the link to their website in the description. Some of the pictures I used in this video are from them, their website, their Instagram. I'm sure they'd be okay with me using it just because they posted it as an advertisement to show people what they do. So people who want to go to the school can go and have an idea of what they're getting themselves into. I recommend going. I loved my time there. If anyone at this school who I knew there is still there, hi, I think about you all the time. Love you. Love Las Pirámides. Love Guatemala. You don't need to know Spanish. I think I mentioned that in the beginning because all the classes are in English. And you don't even really need to know Spanish to get around Guatemala, because there's enough bilingual people and expats and tourists there that will help you at every bus stop, every town. Once you actually make it from Guatemala City to San Marcos, you don't even really need to leave. You can just stay within walking distance of the school and have plenty to do all month. Guatemala is a beautiful country. It's full of really warm, hospitable people. Every time you walk everywhere down the street, they're looking at you in the eye and smiling and saying hola. It's kind of like Hawaii, you say aloha to each other. They acknowledge each other. It's very family oriented and community oriented. It's not the safest place to be. Most people are nice, but you have to be careful where you walk at night between the towns around the lake. There are a lot of robberies that happen with machetes. There's a really infamous story of a woman who had her finger cut off, which is, someone swung a machete and managed to get just the finger. That's pretty remarkable. Most people don't want to hurt you. They just kind of, as one of the teachers there told me, they just kind of rattle a machete at you and ask for some money. I never had a problem there. Like I said, if you're not walking in rural areas between towns at night, chances are you're going to be fine. Don't be drunk and sloppy during that time in that place. That's going to make you an easier target. And I won't spend too much more time talking about this because, like I said, I felt like it was a pretty good, friendly country, and it just takes some common sense to make it through safely. And, it's dangerous in America as well. So you have to keep an eye out for that type of thing, though. And the food was good. I got sick there one time from the food and the water. If you want to avoid getting sick, don't go in May. They have a thing there they call the Mal de Mayo, which is like the sickness of May. And it's because all the rains come and wash all of the filth from the streets into the lake all at once, and the lake gets dirtier. And a lot of the water you drink down there is lake water that they filter through these filters that are like big terracotta pots with like charcoal in between. You'll also have time to do lots of different things. Some of the students actually took a trip, I think it was to Belize, like a neighboring country. There's Mayan pyramids and ruins down there I'd go hang out at. So that was Las Pirámides del Ka and my time in Guatemala, and a little rundown of what the school is like and what to expect if you go. You also got a little insight into what my life has been like. I also lived at a Vipassana center for quite a while, tons of organic farms. Been to a few different countries, and I might share some of those stories, but let me know if you want to hear anything like that, or if this video was any good for you at all. If it was, hit like, subscribe, and thanks for being here. And if you're interested in any fresh mugwort products that have the live monoterpenes, check out my Etsy. It's Alchemist Anonymous YT. Right now I have the Mugwort Dream Pillows, fresh mugwort with no stems, the Mugwort Pre-Ground Herbal Blend, and tinctures are going to be coming up soon near the end of the month, and that's going to be the good one.